thank you if you didn't. I'm so sorry. I hope I've changed your mind in the past 3.5 years. So tonight's event is an opportunity for you to actually get to know all of the candidates that are running for city council. Okay, so today actually opened up voting season. From now until May 2nd, you have an opportunity to vote for your city council members for the city of Alma. You have 5 candidates that are running. You have 3 open seats. And for those that didn't see my video on last night, what your city council's job to do is, as a team, they adopt city ordinances, they approve the city budget, and they actually create policies which impact everybody that lives in the city of Alma. Okay. Tonight is your opportunity to just mingle with them, to ask them one-on-one questions and all the cool stuff, because we don't or haven't in the past had an opportunity for a setup where you can actually just approach your candidates and ask them hardcore questions and get answers that you maybe have been curious about in the past, or maybe you've just never been able to put a face to a name. One thing we cannot do tonight, just because it's completely prohibited, is we cannot and we are not allowed to allow council members to talk about city business. Okay, so although I'm here as your mayor, I'm really not. I'm really here as a citizen tonight. Okay, so that's my husband, y'all. He went to go get y'all some pizza. We absolutely cannot talk about city business tonight. This is strictly about the election and what the candidates feel like is their vision and what they would like to do for the city of Alma over the next 2 years. Just keep in mind that the city council works as one unit, one body. Okay, so they all have to work together, and they all have to agree no matter what happens over the next 2 years. Second to that, we also cannot have any city council members working in 2 conversations or 1 conversation with 2 people. That's considered a quorum. That's completely illegal. So if you have 2 city council members speaking amongst one another tonight and you see me kind of walk over and nudge them, just know that it's just because it's illegal for us to talk in a quorum, and it could potentially affect a negative way tonight, because this is not the appropriate setting for that. So what's going to happen is each candidate is going to give you a 5-minute introduction. They have the floor for 5 minutes. They can basically tell you what their vision is, what they hope to bring to the city of Alma for the next 2 years. They may even have an opportunity to tell you I'm trying to say this without putting together some city business. They have an opportunity to tell you what their vision is going forward and maybe what they know as a resident of Alma. Okay. Once they get done, all 5 candidates get done, then you will have the floor to mingle. There's chairs outside, and you have the free reign to go and ask those candidates questions as long as they're by themselves. Okay, cool. All right, so the first person I'm going to call up is Brian Mundy. You guys come on up.
Good evening. My name is Brian Mundy. Born and raised here in Alma. Moved away for about 2 years, I guess, right after I got out of high school, college stuff. Ended up coming back to Alma, right? Went to house over here about 5 years ago. Married to my wife for going on 11 years. I've got 2 kids. I got a 9-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old son. I currently work for Course County Fire Department. I've been there for 14 years. Started off as firefighter EMT, reload paramedic, lieutenant, captain, where now I serve as the fire marshal for Course County. Also, I have been on the fire department for Alma, volunteer fire department for 15 years, and I've served as the chief for the last 8 years. My vision for Alma is, obviously, we know the growth is moving south, the I-45 corridor. Infrastructure is going to be a big thing for the future. Ordinances, budget, maintaining the budget, okay, because we're going to have, with that growth coming this way, you're going to have influx of people as well. You know, during the day, living here, moving here. So public safety is going to be important to make sure we got, you know, enough public safety and the right equipment to do it with. I'd like to use my knowledge that I have now, because I do plans reviews, inspections, stuff like that, to help with city ordinance stuff. zoning, different things like that, changes that, we can make there. I wanna make the community safe. I would like to see it continue to grow. It's, like I said, it's moving this way, and there's not really gonna be, I don't think, a whole lot of stopping it. I think it's gonna happen regardless. But if we can help prepare for it now instead of wait till it happens, I think that's a big component for the council. So that's kind of my vision. If I'm elected as council, is to prepare for that future growth. It could be agreements, it can be whatever else that needs to be done. So, other than that, that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Awesome. Thank you.
So, anybody else?
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Martinez. I was also born and raised here in Alma, 30 years now, I believe. I am employed at Angel Distributing. I also am involved in Alma Smokehouse. Y'all might know my dad, Jesse Martinez. We also run a construction company out of that business. Also, I have 2 kids. I built a house here in Alma back in 2021, so I'm invested. I'm here for the long run. As far as, sorry, I'm not a politician, so I'm fully looking at this as like, I want to represent the young families of Alma, the ones that may feel underrepresented in this city. I want to help kind of guide all the new construction that's going to come to town. With my background in business and construction, I know what may be beneficial and unbeneficial for the city as far as residential construction. Same thing with business, allowing ones that, that are going to be profitable, ones that are going to be beneficiary to the city, ones that are going to be here to help the city instead of just use us as a place to park their business. I don't see a lot of representation for the east side of the highway. I don't know if any of you guys live over there, side of the Cowboy Church, Grace Creek, that's where I live. There's a lot of homes that are about to be built over there. There's going to be a lot of new citizens coming in, and I want to be able to represent that side and give them a voice that, might be lacking over there. I want to make sure that we are sending resources to that side, be it roads, cleaning up the neighborhood, watching the ordinances, making sure those are being enforced. I'm coming off of 2 years on the council, so I'm still learning, but I feel like I'm learning alongside good people. And I would like to continue to serve the city of Alma. So I'm gonna go ahead and start that by giving y'all a couple minutes and cut myself off there. But if y'all have any questions, y'all can ask me after
I'm a little older guy, I gotta keep my thoughts in line here. My name is Mike Hughes. We bought land down here now in '90, my wife and I, and we built a house down 1183 here and raised our 2 kids here, and now our grandkids come and visit all the time. So I was born and raised in Dallas, but I always wanted to live in the country. So like I said, we purchased the land in 1990 and built a house down there. I worked in Dallas for 35 years as a firefighter, and the last 14 I was a captain on a ladder truck in downtown Dallas. So because of my training and the things they required of me working downtown, I have training, teaching, and all this in and management, administration. I had to deal with the upper echelon of the fire department, which could be a pain in the rear. And then I had to deal with the public, because any of the major runs we had downtown, you end up with the public there, and you also end up with the press, the news cameras and stuff like this, so I had some exposure to that with some of the major incidents we had downtown, including the one like where the propane tanks were blowing up and the shooting. I was on the scene where they shot the 7 cops in downtown, stuff like that. So I did a lot of that the last 14 years when I was downtown on the fire department. And I feel like my experience with all the training and experience I got with Dallas, I can bring that experience to Alma and help direct. And they've done a good job. I've been to the meetings the last 2 years on a regular basis, and they're doing a good job. But I thought I'd like to, I was a councilman 25 years ago, but Alma was a different place then. And I'd like to contribute again, and I'm feeling like I can bring this experience to Alma and help the other, with whoever else is elected, if I get elected. And that way, we can work on different issues like keeping the roads in good condition. And I want to ensure the safety of the residents by making sure our police and fire department has good equipment and well-trained and is focused on what they need to be focused on. And I want to keep all the commercial development along the highway and out of the country, rural part that we're living in. I want to keep it a small town, rural flavor to Alma. I mean, we're getting commercial on it, which is a benefit with their tax dollars and stuff. And hopefully we can maintain the roads and stuff with those tax dollars. But I want to keep where our houses and stuff are country. That's why I moved down here. I didn't want to live in Dallas anymore. There were too many problems. And so right now, I'm just hoping to bring help them to make sure that the city is efficient and there's transparency with what's going on and where y'all's money is being spent. So really, that's one of the big goals for me, other than like the roads and stuff like that. So I know it's not 5 minutes, y'all might appreciate
I'm like Mike, I have a little list here. Thank you. All right, look at myself. I'm Kyle Wilson, 59 years old, I'm a state certified real estate appraiser, and I'm a real estate developer. And I've been for over 30 years. I've been married to my wonderful wife, Janet, right here. She's been a teacher for the SISD for over 20 years. We have 2 children we've raised in Alma, and now very blessed by the grace of God to have 5 great grandbabies. Not great, but grandbabies. How about that, little Jeff? We chose Alma as our place. We wanted to build our home in 1989. We raised our family here with full intentions of living here the rest of our lives. We've been here for now over 37 years. I first ran for alderman in 2014. At that time, as like I said before, Alma was a different place at that time. At that time, Alma had terrible roads, ditches full of trash, tires, debris, trees falling down, people dumped along the side of the roads. Alma was on the verge of going insolvent and being taken over by the city of Venice. I felt Alma needed a new vision to keep Alma and not the city of Venice. So when elected, myself along with other council members that were elected at that time, as well as Mr. Stevens at that time, he was mayor before I got elected. We went out and we donated our time, hours and hours, hundreds of hours, to clean up Alma, clean up the roads, pick up the tires, pick up the trash, trim the trees, and we cleared the trash trees. We repaired the roads voluntarily. We went and repaired the roads. We potholed the roads. We did, we we spent a couple of years doing that. All volunteered with family, friends, and, you know, great people that helped us. We also, a big deal to me was Alma Cemetery had been just abandoned for years and years and years. And was my goals was to get that cemetery back in order. And we have done that. And now you can, if y'all haven't driven down the cemetery road, go check it out. Now you can actually buy a plot there, you can bury your family there. I will most likely be buried there. And so that's a big deal to me, was the cemetery, and I believe that we've helped get that done. After that, we actually got the funds and we resurfaced all the roads in Alma that were once just, some of y'all people know that just went down the roads that were just full of potholes. And you couldn't go 10 miles an hour without knocking your axle out. So we resurfaced the roads, and those roads don't last but 10 years, unless you go way above and beyond. It's been, you know, concrete, which we're not there yet. So the roads need attention to this day. We need to redo the roads again. And with the commercial businesses that are coming along I-45, you know, with the sales tax, the real estate tax dollars, hopefully we can get that done. It's one of my main goals in Alma, is to make sure these roads are all passable in the city of Alma. So my vision is moving forward is to keep Alma, not being taken over by Ennis. Because Ennis is on our footsteps. Ennis wants Alma. If anybody doesn't know, they should. Ennis will take over us. If we go under, Ennis will take us over in a minute because of I-45, 287 corridor, and that's always been on their mind. But I want to continue to maintain the roads, keep our city taxes at the current rate of 0.25 with no city tax increase. That is totally against me. I will never raise my hand for a city tax increase. As well as I would like to, my goal is to talk to the city commission and implement an over 65 exemption for the citizens of Alma that are over 65, even though it might be a smaller tax than what this, homestead tax versus what the state gives us now in their school taxes, which is $140,000 off of your tax bill. But any help helps, and I'm all for giving the over 65 citizens a tax break on the city of Alma taxes. I also feel like we should take advantage of all state and federal grants. There's lots of federal grants, state grants out there that can benefit the city of Alma. We've done some in the past. We got sewer to Alma through a grant. We got this road over here on Alma Road North going back towards the dead-end bridge that we're getting fixed soon. Just continue to take any advantage of any and all grants available to help the citizens of Alma to cut back on the burden of the city of Alma's taxes. There's a lot of free money. You just got to work on getting it. It's not an easy job, but it's something we can do to improve Alma and save Alma their, increase in taxes. I'm going to continue. I thought we should continue to go to tax base and Alma with the residential properties that the Martinez are doing over here on that side of the highway. They're doing a great job. They built a lot of houses, and there's more houses coming up, and I give them accolades for that. And to keep the commercial businesses on I-45, I don't feel like there should be commercial properties across the street from anybody that lives in Alma proper in the residential areas. Commercial businesses should be along I-45, which in this last 14 years, or 12 years, we have implemented zoning along the highway to keep it, commercial over there and everything else over here, the country, and I am very pro-police on keeping the roads in Alma safe, as well as the highway, which is one of the deadliest stretches of I-45 in Texas, along the highway local 11 yet. So at the end of the day here, I want to keep out my bedroom community. I still want to be able to burn a fire, pop firecrackers, shoot a gun, hunt on your property with all safety in mind. Let's keep Alma the best Alma can be. I thank y'all for showing up for tonight for this event. I'll be happy to answer any questions after this during the meet and greet. Thank you for coming. God bless America, God bless Texas, and God bless the city of Alma. Thank you.
Matthias Zappel. I've been on the council for 4 years now. I think most of us that are running are aligned in kind of what we want to do with the town and the vision that we have for it. I'll share, there's probably just a few points I want to hit. I mean, the main reason I wanted to be on the council when I joined 4 years ago was to preserve the way of life that we have here. We haven't been here for a long time like everybody else has, right? I wasn't born and raised here, but when we moved out here, we wanted the country life, and that's what we wanted to maintain and provide for our kids as they were growing up. So that's one of the reasons I'm on the council. I just want to preserve that, right? I want to keep Alma country. There's growth coming, we've heard it. I think if there is growth and commercial growth coming, it has to be good, it has to be intentional, right? The citizens of Alma shouldn't be burdened by the growth that these commercial, companies are. They come in, promise the moon, and don't deliver on anything. So that's one of the main points I wanted to hit. I don't have any sort of business interest in the town, right? That there's no benefit that I get commercially, right? By being on the council or anything. I just want to preserve our way of life. In terms of skill sets, I don't have commercial building experience or firefighting. I work in the corporate world. I run financial plans, budgets. I run a team of 20 people. We run a budget of $400 million. So I'm really good with numbers, budgets, financial planning. So that's kind of a skill set that I bring to the table. And then as far as being on the council goes, my strategy is always, try to ask the questions that I feel the citizens of Alma would ask. When I'm voting for something, mentally I'm thinking about if I were to go walk around and ask everybody that lives here how they would vote for this measure. That's the way I try to vote. If I feel like the people would be aligned with the vote one way or another, that's the way I try to vote. So, again, I think my points are pretty simple. I just want to preserve our way of life that we have here. In terms of taxes, I'm aligned with Kyle. I don't, plan on voting on any sort of increase that burdens the citizens of Alma. And if there's growth, commercial growth, I think it needs to be intentional, well planned out. Make sure that it doesn't burden any of the people that live here. You're not impacting. I think we've seen the big distribution center that came up over there, right? Those people built their house off of Oak Grove, right? They had this beautiful background, beautiful backyard, and all of a sudden they got this giant, distribution center right behind them. So that's what I want to do. I want to protect the people that live here in terms of commercial growth and everything else. And that's it for me.
Okay, so 5 candidates, 3 seats, voting started today. Voting day, the final voting day is actually May 2nd, so be sure to watch for May 2nd voting day. The last thing I'll say before we break up and you guys can start asking your questions directly to your candidates is that it's hard to get people to our community events. Okay, now I'm going to speak as your mayor for just 30 seconds. It's really hard for us to get the word out. So I encourage every one of you to please, if you are on Facebook and you see the mayor page, please share every post involved in our community events because we try to do more of these, and it's really hard to get people to see them. We had a mingle with the mayor event last year, and it was about the same turnout. And so the more that you can share, the more that we can get people engaged in our community and with our council members and with our local businesses. We want to support our small businesses. So, but yeah, that's all I have. Thank y'all for coming. We really appreciate it. There's still time on the clock. So if you have a neighbor that you want to invite out for a little bit to come meet with the candidates, and that would be great if you could send them a quick text and invite them out to come over. So thank y'all.